let's take you through the starting grid for the last pre-final for our Rotax stage of the competition for 2024. It's DD2 and DD2 Masters after qualifying under the floodlights yesterday evening. Imke Arts would steal a march on the rest of the opposition and narrowly secure pole position by 22 thousandths of a second ahead of Nicolas Guillaume. Sam Knopfius and Thierry Vermeulen round out the top two rows, with Louis Koch and Luca Neuenhausen rounding out the top three rows. Axel Hoos and Mark Schubmann round out row 4, and on pole position for DD2 Masters starting 9th, the 555 of Christoph Adams. He'll be joined by Germany's Malte Schlatter in the 480 on row 5, thereby completing the top 10. 22 drivers in total, with Bennett Demler and Rick van der Staat on row 6, Mark van der Kamp and Kian de Brandt on row 7, Brent Otters and Niels Böhler on row 8, with Dominic Hummels and Wim Rouleau rounding out the top 9 rows. Vincent van Kerkhoffen 19th, Jan Eckstein completes the top 20. Moritz Knopfius, this year's E20 Masters Grand Finals champion, will start on the back row of the grid and will be joined by the 510 of Ton van Weert. Of course, Sam Knopfius finishing second in the Grand Finals in Sarno behind Zen de Rua, but also very much concentrating on the fact that we do have both titles at this moment up for grabs. After the best 12 out of 14 scores, Nicolas Guillaume, who comes into this round on unadjusted points, 707. Knopfius came in on 703, Imke Arts on 700, and Axel Hoos on 684. But with the drop scores taken into consideration, Knopfius and Guillaume level pegging on 618. Knopfius has more victories. He has 6 to his tally. Guillaume has 2. Arts has had 2 victories, both in pre-finals this year. Axel Hoos has not won a race this season. In DD2 Masters, the 3 main protagonists are Niels Böhler on 595, 1 ahead of Wim Rouleau, with Dominic Hummels on 586. 9 points separate the top 3 in DD2 Masters, including the 2 drop scores out of 14 races so far. So the red lights are on the gantry for DD2 and DD2 Masters, the penultimate race of the 2024 season. Right, the red lights did not go out. We have gone full start. So full start has been called. So the green flag with the yellow chevron has been deployed at Marshall Post 1. So the drivers are going to have to go round again for another tour of this 1,360 metre circuit. It's quite interesting. They do say that consistency wins you a title. So I'm looking to see victories between the top 3 in DD2 Masters. This is quite an interesting statistic. Niels Böhler took his only race win so far this season in the pre-final at Circuit de Lanzarote at round 6. Wim Rouleau, I think it was Kerpen at round 5 in the final. He took a win. Dominic Hummels, just like Axel Hoos, has also not. Right, that was Moritz Knopfius is not going to take the start, unfortunately. His kart has said, no, I don't want to comply with you, Moritz. So Dominic Hummels, along with Axel Hoos, 2 drivers in the respective class title fights, not having taken a win this year. You know what? Seeming is he's actually gotten up here a bit early. Put that on, your Bliefeld. And welcome back.
Hello, Alex. It's nice to be here.
So, congratulations on your podium. So we'll talk about that through the next 3 races. But we're revs up, lights out, and underway. A good start from Imke Arts from pole position. Oh, and Guillaume's just had a tag from behind. And that put him up into the air. That was Thierry Vermeulen, his teammate from SP Motorsport. Oh, and we've got one backwards. That's the 459 of Germany's Mark Schuppmann. Oh, that's not exactly what you want to have. And you know all about this. You know, first corner, first lap incidents, and especially when teammates come together.
Yeah, that's of course that's something you would not like to see, but it's the first lap, big risks, and yeah, dramas like that can happen.
But the good thing is, well, we've seen quite a few battles between the 2 leading the way. Imke Arts leading from Sem Knopfjes. Sem proudly sporting his Team Netherlands outfit, which you've worn multiple times at the Rotax Grand Finals. They lead the way. Third looks to be, well, it is an SP Motorsport car. I can't make out who it is at the moment. That is Luca Neuenhausen in the 488. And he gets tagged by Lewis Koch from Door Motorsport. And that sends them going sideways. So that gives an instant advantage to Axel Hoos and Kian de Brandt. Again, it's just turns 1 and 2 here at Genk, threading the eye of the needle. I remember you having dramas, I think, back in your juniors and senior days when we had Jeffrey and the team at JJ Racing, of course, no longer competing these days. Plenty of dramas to remember and to forget, I would imagine.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good overtaking spot, but therefore some people often try to get a lunch there.
I mean, with regards to obviously you having run in KZ2, of course DD2, a class you haven't done, but great move there by Sem Knopfjes. Imke Arts straight on the counter-offensive. That's a good thing about turn 12, that you can really carry that momentum through. But look who it's bringing in. Axel Hoos and Kian de Brandt now trying to tag team to get their way past Imke Arts. It's a very fast circuit here at Genk. When we were last in the booth together, we were at Kerpen, a very different circuit. But the biggest characteristic when I drove around here in an E20 back in April of 2022, I understand that there is you are concentrating the whole time. Even going down the Jutterplan, you're not really taking a breath, are you?
No, it's really fast and flowing, and because there's a lot of space on track, it just provides for a very speedy circuit overall. And also lots of overtaking opportunities, so you're constantly looking ahead, trying to outbrake the driver in front of you. And also like DD2, it has front brakes, it's a front brake class. So then especially there you can come from big distances.
Okay, well, in the meantime, Nicolas Guillaume is still running, but he's all the way down in 16th place. Thierry Vermeulen suffered significant front-end damage, and that has put the 469 out of the race. Moritz Knopfjes didn't even take the start because his car broke down going through into turn number 8 on the formation lap, but Sem Knopfjes trying to steal a march. Now, obviously, we have got 3 out of the 4 title protagonists, which is Sem Knopfjes, Imke Arts, and Axel Hoos running in the top 4. Axel running in 4th at the moment behind Kian de Brandt, but then Nicolas Guillaume. He said to me this morning, I want to warm up and get out on track. Well, considering it was 9 degrees, foggy as anything, this morning. Welcome to Limburg, everybody. Obviously, that incident with the teammate, that is now going to hurt him a little bit, but he can take a little bit of consolation because obviously we've got the 2 drop scores coming into this bit of the championship season on round 8. How important is that as a driver? Because you're not only thinking about the race in front of you, but you're also thinking about the bigger picture when you come into Championship Sunday.
Yeah, of course. Like as the season goes, you start thinking about the championship more and more. At the first races, you're still thinking in the short term, but now definitely they're thinking about the championship. And they have a little bit of margin with the 2 scrap results they have, but still they want to outperform in order to get those last points for the championship.
Yeah, they want to close it out in the best way possible, which is to get the W. But this is what Sem Knopfjes wants to do. Of course, Imke Arts was battling with Axel Hoos when we were back at Circuit de Lansart. Of course, you were racing for the first time in your Porsche Cayman GT4. Of course, podium success And I think also some class wins as well, if I remember correctly.
Pole in class.
Pole in class, and also racing at Hockenheim, one of my favourite tracks in the world. Of course, we look a little bit further back. There are some really good battles here. We've got the 434 with Bennett Demler for FM Racing, and he's just been passed by Mark van der Kamp. Rick van der Straat has just got through as well on the Sodi kart. And again, it's that's I've lost count, folks. I'm probably into 4 digits now, the amount of karting races I've commentated here since April 2018, which was actually the first time when we came across each other when you were running as a junior Rotax driver. Back in those days with the likes of Mads Ries, Mike van Wurst, a very young Corbett Powells as well, who's gone on to big things, obviously now running in GT World Challenge Europe with Come To You Racing. It is one of those pinch points, but also I found out that turn 7 could be just as hairy because you've got a piff-paff chicane, and then you've got a sweeping right-hander. What are your favourite parts of the circuit here at Genk in particular?
Well, of course, the end of Europa Laan provides a good overtaking possibility, and it's just another fast-flowing part of the track. Last turn, also you can make some great lunges there, especially in KZ and DD2 with the front brakes. So yeah, it's just Genk is a nice circuit overall, and I mean it's obvious that it's like a European racetrack. It's very wide, lots of space, and just a nice race here.
Well, in the meantime, just going through turn number 7, Imke Arts has threaded the eye of the needle, dived up the inside, and retaken the lead in the pre-final ahead of Sam Knopfjes. Looking a little bit further back, well, Christoph Adams is no longer leading in DD2 Masters. He's all the way down in 15th place because Wim Rouleau now leads the class in 12th position. He's made up 6 places. Of course, you know, one of the big things that we've seen, of course, Imke Arts has qualified for Team Netherlands before for DD2. Of course, she just missed out when we were at round 6 at Circuit de Lansard, and then, of course, the voice of the Grand Finals jumped in the booth at Circuit Park Berghem. Of course, you were also at that point racing again.
Yeah.
But how is it now finally to get behind the wheel and obviously now the Opster fan club being able to cheer on their hero on track in a GT4? That must have been when it all came together and they went, yep, we're putting you in the car. Obviously, your mum Renata's a big part of, you know, organising the Opster fan club, which myself and Henry have got to know over the years and got to appreciate. When you got the call and they said, we're putting you in the car, you're going racing this weekend, I know for a fact what the Dutch would be for like saying, oh my God. Words to that effect, folks, but you must have been really, really happy when they said, yeah, we're going to put you in the car, you're going to go racing this weekend. What were your first thoughts?
Yeah, of course, I was really enthusiastic. I mean, it's still quite the change of scenery, going from karting to car racing, and especially in a class like DD4. But throughout the entire year, training was going well, speed was looking good. And when I finally heard that I was, when it was finally announced that I was allowed to race, yeah, I was just really happy with it. And even then, when the race went really well and everything like fell together perfectly, yeah, it just made a very nice experience.
We'll talk about the difference between karting and GT4 very shortly. Of course, Niels Töger winning the KZ2 World Cup last year and then moving into ADAC GT4 Germany through the German Kart Championship DKM. But we've got a really good battle here. Kian de Brandt has just been passed by Lewis Koch, whose dad I spoke to this morning, and I said, how did he feel after qualifying P5? He said, yeah, we're happy. We're happy. I mean, Lewis Koch, one of the younger drivers in the Door Motorsport program, along with the likes of Nikita Genza, this year's Rotax Max Challenge Germany champion. Of course, Tim Mika Metz, a very well-established DD2 driver in his own right, has taken titles with that team. But Sam Knopfjes trying to put the frighteners on, but it never unnerves Imke Arts. Once you put that lady behind the wheel, she is just as aggressive as the men out there. And that just goes to show that people will want to prove themselves out on track. One of the nicest people you could want to meet in the paddock is Imke, but you don't want to cause problems with her on the racetrack, because you know for a fact that she will come back at you with twice the aggressiveness. And it's a very, very clean battle. between these two. Of course, a lot of respect between racing drivers, especially with a 2-speed gearbox category. Of course, we'll get on to KZ2 and KZ2 Masters after this particular race, but it's been very, very much, it's stabilised between these two at the moment, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has. Imke has some really good speed. Sam Knop is currently trying to keep up, but she's closing the gap. Yeah, it's looking good for her right now.
Okay, right. We are going to go on to our penultimate lap as the time hits 0. They come out of the final corner. So, Arts leads by 2/10. Knopf is in second. Who's in third? Koch, De Brandt, Guillaume now has recovered. That's good work there after that first lap incident involving his back axle going up into the air, landing with a bump, and Thierry Vermeulen unfortunately retiring from the race early doors. Then we got Luca Neuenhausen, who's dropped to 7th, ahead of Mark van der Kamp. Vincent van Kerkhoff, another man who I've known through senior Rotax, still runs with GKS. Had a chat with him as he went out for practice this morning. And he went, yeah, one of the wires got loose, and yeah, the engine didn't have the waft it needed. But he's made some good inroads. He's made up 10 places. But it's now a case of on that final lap, when you know you've got to put it on the line, Knopfier's knows his opportunity is going to come very shortly, depending on how hard he wants to push.
Yeah, definitely. We see Imke taking a very defensive line right now, probably knowing that Sam Knopf is eager to overtake. So I think it's going to be difficult to overtake in the next part of the circuit, especially when she's defending like this.
Yeah, so down the Europalan for the final time here on lap number 13 here in the last pre-final of Rotax competition for chrono karting for 2024. And you can see that Imke Arts is sternly white lining it, putting it on the racing line. She has the right to do that as the race leader. So now it's down to Knopfiers. Will he try and get a run out of turn number 12? Last corner, last lap. Could it be a photo finish? It's going to keep the title open up until the final race of the championship season later on this afternoon. But out of the final corner, Imke Arts takes the pre-final by 6/100ths. Axel Hoos rounds out the top 3. Louis Koch takes 4th. Nicolas Guillaume from Drama on lap 1 to take P5 at the finish. Ahead of Luca Neuenhausen, Kian de Brandt, Mark van der Kamp, Vincent van Kerkhoff, the highest climber in the order, 19th to 9th, ahead of Brett Otters. Bennett Demler, Christoph Adams takes the win in DD2 Masters. That bloke will be karting until he pops his clogs, that guy. One of the most, well, the most decorated, now 17 times a competitor in the grand finals. Rick van der Start, Max Schupman, Wim Hullo, Malte Schlatterer, Jan Eckstein, Dominic Hummels, and Ton van Weert round out the 19 finishers. Niels Berler has yet to cross the line, so I think might have just has crossed the line, and it's the last of the classified finishers. Thierry Vermeulen out on the opening lap, and Moritz Knopfiers not taking the start.